And we're not going to pick any stitches up on the sides of this. So I'm going to knit across this needle once and across that needle. And as I do that, I'm going to divide my stitches up onto 4 double pointed needles. So I'm going to knit 4, because I have 8 on each needle now. I may as well just divide them up evenly. I'm going to knit 4 onto each needle. So I've got half of my round set up on 2 needles. I've separated this into 2 halves with 2 needles on each half. And just let you take a look at that here so you can see how it's going to be worked in rounds. I'm going to go around and around and around. One half here is going to be the sole of the foot, and the other half is going to be the top of the foot. And what we're going to be doing is increasing every other round at the 2 ends of the sole and the 2 ends of the top of the foot. And we won't do it at the very end. For this technique, we're going to do it inside, 1 stitch away from the end of the needle. And again, if you want to be able to keep your place and see where the end of the round is, you can either now or after you get a couple more rounds done, attach a string or a safety pin onto your knitting so that you can see where the end of the round is. And now I've securely got 8 stitches on each of my circular needles. And so I'm going to switch back to the gold needles to knit this side, and I can begin my increases just as I did on the double points. So working with the 2 ends of my gold needle and just putting the stitches on the cable of the silver needle to have them held out of the way. I'm going to knit 1. I'm going to pick up the bar in the center, knit it through the back loop to make 1. And now, because the whole side of the foot, which would be the sole or the top of the foot, is on 1 needle, I just knit all the way across that side to the last stitch. I'm going to make 1 by lifting the bar and knitting into the back, and then knit the last stitch. So now I've got 10 stitches on that needle. And then I'll flip over to my other, which is the silver needle. And I will work the increases on this needle. You're just going to go around and around just like that in your regular 2 circular needle technique. And you're going to knit 1 round plain, and then on every other round you're going to do the increase at the beginning and end, just inside the edge stitches at the beginning and end, and the same thing just inside the last stitch, the beginning and end on both sides. So you'll do an increase round, a plain round, an increase round, a plain round. And you do that until you have the number of stitches that you need for your sock. So let's take a look at what the wedge toe looks like when it's finished. And I've got one knitted up here, and I have it on double pointed needles. And so you can see the wedge toe. You can see my little cast on was right there across the tip of the toe. And then I went around once, got those stitches onto the needles, and then in that first round I divided it up onto the needles, and then I started increasing. And you can see that I have an increase at the beginning and end of every other row on both sides, and that's how it makes that wedge shape. And when you look at it on the actual sock on the side, it makes a nice seam up the side of the toe.